All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ask a Director. It is June 4th. Today I have on Tara, Lindsay, Dory, Sherry, and Dana. So thank you all for joining me. As you all know, our directors were given their 4 questions beforehand so we could prepare a little bit. I mean, sometimes that doesn't happen. But so I was told this time around that a few of these questions were doozies, which I know that sometimes that can mean that they're going to bring up a lot of emotions. And if you've been on this call before, you know that I get very leaky very easily. So no apologies. Sorry, not sorry. So question number 1 is, I can't do a live video. How do you get past the anxiety and the nerves of going live on your timeline or in a party? What are the best products to demo?
Ooh, I'll go. I love this one.
Sure.
So my best tip, biggest suggestion is do something that you do anyway during the day. So if you just have your Power Chef and your Power Chef, you chop onions, jump on your timeline or jump on your VIP group and just throw your onion in your Power Chef, give it a couple pulls and say, look at how quick that was. Complete. That's all you need to do. And the more you do those little ones, the easier it gets to do a longer video, to chat endlessly like I do if you ever see mine. But the other thing too is jump on one of the Sunday webinars, because then you're amongst all your peers. There's no judgment. I can't even tell you how many times I flop my recipes while doing those. But it's the best place to learn, and everybody is there to cheer you on and help make you better. So those are my little tips.
So I'll add to that, because I do love that suggestion of just popping on and doing short little blurbs here and there. That's a great way to segue into things. But I also think you need to check your self-talk, because we can really build ourselves into a negative aspect of things when we tell ourselves that we can't do stuff, right? Like, everybody is capable of doing anything that they put their mind to it. So just check your self-talk and really just, surround yourself with people that are going to build you up that way. But also, my best things that I love to demo are the things that I like the most, right? Because you're comfortable with them, you use them a lot. So for me, that's the cold brew, the Power Chef, and the now breakfast maker, because I'm actually making myself look at the kit that we have and demo stuff out of that so that we can get people excited for that. So because every time I go on live, I'm freaked out, like my heart's racing, that kind of thing, but I push myself to get out of that.
So to add to that, one trick, I was never nervous during the lives. I don't know why, I just wasn't. Maybe it's because I'm such a quiet person, but if you're nervous, be prepared. If you're gonna do a cold brew recipe, make sure you have absolutely everything laid out that you're gonna need. If you're gonna use the Power Chef, have the Power Chef there with the top on. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Nothing is gonna frazzle you more than searching through your kitchen for the frickin' top of your Power Chef. But if you're really, and have notes. I know a lot of people, when they get nervous, you lose your train of thought really easy. But if you just have a couple point forms of the crucial things that you want to touch base on, you can glance at it quickly, get back on track. And lots of times you'll find that as long as you have it there, you won't even need it. But because you have it, you won't need it. But if you don't have it, definitely you're going to need it. And also use your kids. Like, they are the best distraction. They are the best filler of, like, when you have that empty space. If anybody has seen my videos, nobody even watches me anymore. My daughter, she steals the show, which I'm totally cool with. In my one party, she sold 3 great masters, right? So just because she's cute, she's excited. You see how easy it is to use the product. Like, let's face it, if a 3-year-old can use it, a 30-year-old can use it, right? You know, I'm just saying, right? And like Tara said about the Sunday webinars, I am guilty. I haven't been on them lately. For a while there, Colleen and I were on a pretty good run. Yeah, I know, Tara. Colleen and I were on a pretty good run where we hosted quite a few of them. And if you have not seen Colleen talk about the kit, you need to. She has probably forgotten more about Tupperware than a lot of us will ever learn. She has all of those crazy little tips, tricks, things that are going to stick in your brain that you can then pass on to your consultants and your customers, and it's going to make their life easier.
I guess I could go. So for those of you who have seen my videos, I do cooking for work. So cooking in front of people has never been an issue for me. But one thing that I have a tip for is everyone always says to me, like, Kelsey, you never mess up. And I'm like, ha 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 ha, okay. Like, yes, I do. But the difference between messing up and knowing that you've messed up and letting other people know you messed up is two totally different things, right? Like, if you mess up, you just like, ha ha ha, and go on your merry day like grating cheese, even though you like drop the top of it on the ground, right? You don't worry about like what happened, because also that makes you a real human, right? We all make mistakes. We all, mess up sometimes. So it's perfectly fine, right? People totally get that you're a real human being and that things will happen. And I think the other thing that really helps is I do a lot of pre-recorded videos too. So like that kind of helps get me ready for going live on my timeline. So if you do a pre-recorded video and you look, I always watch mine back. People always say not to watch your videos back to yourself, but I always do, because then I take pointers from myself and go, oh, okay, like I wasn't talking loud enough. They could hardly hear me, right? Or I should have had this set up over here instead so they could have seen it better, like that kind of thing. And then I make sure to take notes of like, make sure you put your camera at this angle on your countertop, or like put it over here on your countertop so that people can actually see what you're doing. So those are my pointers.
Can I go off of that too? When you just mentioned your camera, please have your camera set up and ready to go before you start your video. There's nothing more distracting or can take away from a really incredible video than looking at your thumb or looking at your chin or listening to all the rustling while your camera is being set up. That is really, really important.
I'll add. So I guess like my biggest, like everybody kind of starts somewhere. Like we've all been at that point of terrified to do a live and not wanting to do it. And I was there too, and it took me a long time to come around. And now it's just kind of part of what we do when we're cooking in the kitchen. I actually see my two littles and they'll be playing with Play-Doh and they're doing their own lives. And Paisley will be like, oh, I'm just popping on today to tell you. And she'll be doing it with her Play-Doh. So I've done something to my children, but I do it with my girls too. And now that my youngest is getting a little bit older, it's seriously a gong show when I have it with both of my girls helping me, because one's reaching for this and one's reaching for that. And I like that because it shows the reality of that I am a mom with littles at home and this works and this is what we do. The other thing that I started off is when I first started is I didn't show myself. So like if I had my camera on a tripod, it was kind of just showing what I was making. And then it kind of, snuck into my kids, and then now it's me, and I don't even care. Half the times I probably could be in my pajamas, and it's just, this is what we're doing right now. This is what we're cooking. And I just want to share with people how Tupperware products truly make our prep time and meal time faster and easier. And they can see in my organized chaos in the kitchen of my crazy littles that, I need to be able to make a meal in 10 minutes and toss it in the microwave for the other 25 to 30 because I don't have time with these two littles everywhere. So just kind of how I started with them.
Are you supposed to point the camera away when you're in your pajamas? Shoot.
Yo.
Optional. Well, there's Tupperware pajamas now you can wear, right? So it works.
So if we don't have anything else for that question, we'll move on to question number 2. And this one is a big one, especially with leaders, and especially when you're getting closer to executive director, DIQ, or executive manager, DIQ, and then into director. So setting a goal, how do you do it? How do you go about finding your goal? How do you know when the goal is right for you? So I will start because I'm already here. We talk about puke-worthy goals, and like, I don't think, let's just say it, I don't think anyone had a puke-worthy goal that wasn't surpassed in May, right? May was a crazy month. So like, even we set goals that sometimes just get like blown out of the water, right? And no one can anticipate that, and no one can like see that coming. So I think when like the puke-worthy goal, like when you get that like kind of weird feeling like, oh, this doesn't feel good, like this goal is not attainable for me, it's just a little bit too high for me, that's the one that you want to set. Is that like, I want it to be like, we have to get 15,000, but let's make it 20, right? It's that like little bit of a push to get yourself a little bit farther with your goal.
So I never was a goal setter, ever. I am probably the most disorganized person. Like, my household is organized chaos. That's just how we roll. So I really, really struggled with this one, and that's okay. I started small, right? Like, you start with your small goals, you reach those. You want to make sure, what was SMART again? Heather, do you remember? What does SMART stand for?
Specific, measurable, attainable, actionable,
Reachable?
reachable, teachable. I don't remember.
Maybe. I'll have to look that up again, but I remember the first time that I heard SMART, it really resonated with me, because it was the attainable. You want your goals to be, puke worthy or whatever. They need to be realistic. Like, you're not going to say that you're going to be, a 5-star director in a month. I mean, maybe it could happen, but wowzer, that would be one crazy month. Hitting director or star director in 1 month, that has been proven to be possible. It actually happened a few times over last month. So long story short, your goals need to like give you those butterflies and be like, you get excited when you think about them, but they need to be realistic. They need to be attainable.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wasn't a big goal setter when I started either. I was just kind of rolling with it and see what happens and letting everything kind of flow on its own. And once it got to that point of, okay, what do I want from this? Then I would sit down and say, okay, if this month I want to hit star manager, so I need 6,000. So we're going to go for 10, like Kelsey said, because you want that mix of, okay, realistically, this is what I need. So we're going to go up here, and we're still going to go reach higher, but you have to have attainable goals, right? And then I would break it down into, so that means in 4 weeks, I need this much per week. And I worked on, so how do I get this much per week? I didn't look at, so I need 15,000 this month to get my director promotion. I looked at, I need 37.5 every week. How do I do that? And break it down so it's still a good puke-worthy goal, but it's not overwhelming when all of a sudden you come to the end of the 3rd week and go, I still need 9,000. You break it down into little steps is what I found worked really well.
And share with your team.
Yes.
Share your goals with your team. They're there. They want to help you. They want to cheer you on. And there's nothing more gratifying, especially for me, when you get those personal messages. I have one lady on my team who, she does what she can. She's a hard worker, and she'll message me every month. Did we make our goal? I hope my little bit helped, right? Like, that's pretty fantastic.
Well, and talk to your team about their goals too, because their goals line up with your goals. It might actually elevate your goals. If all of a sudden you talk to a team member and they're like, well, I'm going to hit star manager this month. Well, hang on, maybe now I'm going to hit DIQ this month, and it can help you both push each other, but it helps everybody when you work together and cheer each other on. Everybody loves to help people succeed. So when it's not just the leader going, hey, this is what I want this month, this is what we need to do, you have to add that, what do you want this month? If you have a brand new recruit, do you want that activation, the party bonus this month. Well, let's get that for you. Share your goals together, and you end up building stronger and bigger when you do that, right?
Yeah, crazy month that May was. Yes, it is. When you only start working your business 2 weeks before May and start out as a consultant, and then come to May and you have like 2 recruits, and you're like, I was like, great, maybe I'm gonna hit, star manager this month. That'd be great. Set those goals, but May was so stinking crazy. By the 3rd week, I had blown every single goal. Like our team in the first week, I got 17 stinking recruits. Like, where the heck? So becoming director in 1 month, when I post that to our team, they stepped up. Like, sharing your goal with them so they can get excited with you. I mean, I've never been more proud. It was just so amazing to see what everybody was willing to, like, I just said, hey, how about we go for this? And they all were like, I had new recruits coming out the wazoo, and they were like, I will host a party this week. And you're like, what? Like, really? I had 6 parties. So, share your goals. But coming into this month now, it's like, hey, May is that was unusual. That was not normal. So now I'm like, hey, what am I capable of in a normal month as director now, right? So for me, I looked at, okay, what are my goals? What do I want to aim for now? And looking at my team, who has said they want to work the business, who wants to discount shop, that kind of stuff. And then I actually was like, I honestly don't know if these goals are realistic for me. Like, I don't know, because last month wasn't normal. And so if you need help, like if you think you've got goals that are realistic, you could always ask your upline. They will, you can ask your 2-star, 3-star directors and say, hey, I haven't been in this business long enough to know anything. You've seen what I'm capable of. You know that I'm a hard worker. So do you think this is realistic for us? Or do you think I'm being too easy on us now? Or do you think I'm being too hard on us? Like, I want to help the rest of my team succeed in their goals. Just like they helped us get to where we are today. So I just want to make sure that we're challenging, but we're not being too out there. And they were great at coming back with, okay, this is the number of your team. This is what they have going on. This is what you have going on. So, you're kind of a little on the low end of things. So maybe you should bump it up a little bit to challenge yourself. So if you aren't sure, don't hesitate to reach out and get feedback, like with the people that know what regular months are like.
I like to say that, like, I feel like my goals always come back to my why. So I completely agree with, I was going to say pretty much what all of you have already said, but I always like that my goals come back to my why, and why am I doing this and what am I working towards? And my quote that's been sticking with me for the last couple of weeks is reach for your dreams because nobody else is going to. And working with my why is where I set my goals. And sometimes they are scary as can be. I set my goal in January to be a 2-star E-Light director, which was like terrifying to set. And I'm already got the 2-star, and we're, I think under 150,000 away from team sales from E-Light. So when it starts to happen, then it's just like, okay, well, it's halfway through the year. Now I need to that goal. I don't know what that goal looks like. I did say 3-star at one point, but that scares me too. So maybe that's what I need to up that goal to.
Okay, seriously, can we say congrats to Dana and Sherry? Like, unbelievable.
Honestly, I think Sherry would agree. You can't do it without your team. It's not a me situation, right? You just can't.
But your team is not right now. You are, so.
Well, thank you.
I kind of stuck with, I said this back at, I think it was in February. Yeah, it must have been because it was shortly after my surgery, and Cora had a leadership meeting, which I totally am missing those beyond words. And I forget even the question that Cora asked when I was doing my demo. And the thing that I said, and it's always stuck with me, and I say to my girls very, very often, is you need to find that one person that changes your team. So that's a good, and that can do anything and everything too.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, Tara, you want to go?
No, that's okay. Yeah, I just
Okay.
was going to add one quick little thing.
You go.
Okay, so goals, very much like what everybody else said. The biggest thing that I do is I do my kind of like my year-long goal. I do my even a 2-year goal if you want to, or 3, whatever you're comfortable reaching for. And then I do a little step back. So I'll do a year, then I'll do usually a year, and then I'll kind of figure out how I need to build to get to that. And then my goals they'll shift based on how things are happening, what's going on, months like May, things like that. So I like to look at, and it's the same thing, it's because of my why that I have the goal that I have a year from now, and what I'm doing now and what I will be doing up until then. It's all a rolling thing. So that's what I do. I keep rolling my.
So one last thing before we move on to our next question is I started doing a motivational Monday with my team. And one thing that I posted about last week, because it was the beginning, or like just on Monday, it was the beginning of the month, was about goal setting. And the motivational thing was dream big, do bigger. And I think that is like something I think we all can relate to, is we dream this dream that like one day we might be able to quit our job or not go back, and do something we didn't like doing before. And then we do it bigger. And we actually make that happen. Like Sherry just took a leave from work because Tupperware allowed her to, right? And I also am only working 32 hours at my job instead of 40 hours at my job because Tupperware allowed me to, right? So when we dream big, we need to do bigger, right? You need to push and push harder. So the next question is, what is your favorite aspect of TUP? What is something that you love about Tupperware?
For me right now, it's the social aspect of it in so many different ways. Because I am a social person and was on surgery leave before COVID hit, and then COVID hit, and I was like, okay, not gonna lie, if I'm at home by myself, I'm glad everybody else is, but that slowly got really boring. And so for me, it's definitely, I love the family atmosphere of the training and the consultants, but I also am so enjoying the social aspect of being online, doing lives with parties, and getting to know a different group of people every week. It's kind of cyclical because I start out each week and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. And I'm connecting with all the hosts and connecting with the guests. And then comes the, oh my goodness, they're all closing very close together. Oh my goodness. And I'm stressed out and I'm whatever. And then I'm like, I just want to get this over with. And then it's done. And then I'm like, oh, I can hardly wait for next week again. So it's just, it's a good thing. I like that aspect of it for myself.
So I'm probably weird in this way that I'm very much a homebody. So COVID hasn't really changed a whole lot for me, to be quite honest. But I love that, we have such incredible resources at our fingertips. We have such incredible leaders, whether it be, starting Cora down to Chantel, to Jenny, to Allison, like everybody works so well together. We have all of these amazing training tools that even though we are all stuck at home, we all have bigger paychecks than we would have expected made to be, right? All from whether it be sitting on your kitchen table, sitting on your couch, like literally bra off, hair up, working your business, still connecting with people, but I'm still at home with my kids. Because for a lot of us, even if we wanted to work, we have no daycare. We have, right? Like there was, I'm not going to lie, March was like a holy smokes, how is this going to play out month, right? And then, everybody was kind of a little bit freaked out. And then Tupperware was kind of like that one norm. We all kind of came together, figured it out, took it, ran with it, and exploded, right?
Yeah, I agree with you, Dory. I'm not overly social. I stay at home 90% of the time. I've been lucky that I've been able to work from home since my kids were born. So I haven't worked outside the home except for my restaurant, but it was my restaurant. I'll bring my kids if I need to. Like I haven't ever had to work away from my kids. And but I like to socialize, but I like to do it from my house by myself, texting or talking on the phone or something. And it was always very limited. So I really like how much Tupperware has, allowed more socialization, but I live really remote. So there's a lot of driving involved with me being social, and I'm just not into that. So I really like the social aspect. And at the beginning I like all the free stuff. I was confident. Start blew my mind. Like they're going to give me this for nothing, really? So I earned my way through that. And now that's kind of morphed into, I think my new favorite thing is watching that happen for my team. I really, really love it when my teammates get so crazy excited because they just earned their cookware, or they just got $100 in host rewards, and it's stuff that they could have never afforded to buy on their own, but they've now got it for free. And same with my hostesses, not just my team. Like I love it when people see how much they can earn for free, because I remember what it's like to, I would really like to buy that, but I can't afford to. So I did it about 5 years before I joined. My husband's cousin was selling Tupperware, and I felt bad and I wanted to support her, but I couldn't. So I literally bought Sandwich Keeper. I was like, I'm going to spend this, like $18, $15, whatever it was. And like, that's all I could afford to get. So when I first got my kit, it was like Christmas. I'm like, they just gave me a pressure cooker for nothing. Like, so for me, I love seeing everybody get stuff that normally they might not be able to get.
There's so many things that I love about this. The recognition's huge. The family is huge. The way everybody lifts everybody up, has everybody's back. There's no, like, I don't know, for a mass amount of women, there's very little amounts of cattiness. Do you know what I mean? Like in a normal work environment, you would never, ever get along with the vast majority of people you talk to.
This is why there is nowhere else like Top of the Line. No other company, no other product, no other anything anywhere has what Top of the Line has, for that reason, Tara, because you can't do it. You can't put that many in a normal environment. Top of the Line is absolutely the greatest thing to happen to Tupperware and to everybody in it. It is amazing.
Agreed. And the training and the advancement and the opportunity.
Yep.
Like, and I mentioned this, I can't remember if it was on the last one that I spoke on or if it was another time, but I'm not worried about having to go back to work to a job that I hated after maternity leave because of Tupperware and because of Top of the Line and because of the people. It's a family. It's amazing.
Honk, honk.
I just actually gave notice this week. So I've been also privileged to be able to stay home and raise my kids. My husband is a farmer. We live out in the country, so it does not pay for me to work outside the house. unless my kids were in school, and then I was able to choose what jobs I wanted to do. So I've always been very blessed to be able to not have to work at things I don't like. But with that said, I always wanted part-time stuff. So I was working at our church as our church secretary. I run a free clothing store in our town, and I babysit for a couple of families for their littles while their moms go off to work. So when I started Tupperware, I wasn't able to do any of that because, one, I was on medical leave, and two, COVID hit. And so none of that was then available. So being bored, sitting on my butt, which my kids will tell you, I'm perfectly okay being bored and sitting on my butt watching TV. I love TV. I do, not gonna lie, totally love it. But I was getting bored. So things are bad when I'm getting bored watching TV. So now with Tupperware, I'm actually able to let go of leaving my house and going out into the community and working. I'm enjoying working from home and spending the time doing household stuff when I'm not doing Tupperware. So it was I wasn't sad to go tell them I was not coming back, but I was kind of a little bit like, ooh, I don't like to leave people in the lurch, but really, I just went in and I said, I'm sorry, Pastor, you're going to have to hire somebody else. I'm doing really good at Tupperware and I'm not willing to give that up. So he's like, no, that's okay. It's fine. So yeah, it's nice to be able to have the freedom to not have to stay with things that aren't really giving you the full amount of joy that you want with your life. So, yeah, it was nice to be able to hand that off to somebody else and not have to spend time doing that anymore.
And I'll go next.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll go next before we go on to the next one. So let me tell you that the tears are gonna start because I can feel them already. My favorite part of TUP is that you can earn things and do things that you would never in your life be able to do otherwise. Okay? I work a not very good paying job. My husband works part-time. We have 2 children. And there is no way in my life that we would ever be able to afford a new vehicle, that we would ever be able to go on a honeymoon, or that we would ever be able to take our kids to Disney. Okay? And with Tupperware, I have earned my honeymoon to Hawaii, and I earned a new vehicle for free. For free. Okay? And then if you notice, if you see one of those posts of someone earning a vehicle or earning a trip, the amount of comments on that from people in top of the line going, yay, you did it, amazing, congratulations. That is like something out of this world that you have never experienced at another job. I can tell you that. So now that I'm done leaking.
I'll jump in quick, Kels, before you go to the next one.
Sure.
And I completely agree with that. And there's so many amazing aspects to Tupperware, but like all of the things that you guys said is totally exactly what I would say too. But the biggest thing that like I can say is like, it's real, because I used to come to these meetings as a manager and I would hear about people talking about free cars and free trips and all of these amazing things. And I was like, yeah, right. And I'm sitting here and I've earned Hawaii, I've earned Disney, and I'm working towards Bahamas. So I mean, it's so real and so attainable for everyone and anyone. And the biggest aspect too is I feel like I've secretively always been looking for a backup plan to get out of teaching, and I'm taking that year leave. I know, Kelsey, you were saying that as my hubby interrupted quick and I had to go outside for a second. And I've never had that opportunity before. I get to go to my daughter's first day of kindergarten, hopefully with all this COVID stuff, instead of being at everyone else's kid's first day of school. So that is huge for me, that it is giving me that opportunity. I never thought I'd be a stay-at-home mom, but I'm living the dream. This is fabulous when everybody's like out there, I don't know, having to figure things out and or having to go to work when it's cold out. I don't have to. So just those aspects of it are truly amazing too. And I really liked, Tara, what you said about the recognition, because in my 10 years of teaching, which teaching is great. I do have a passion for that too. But I've never felt the recognition like I have in Top of the Line and Tupperware. And it's the little things that are truly amazing. As simple as when I was manager, getting that first message from Cora was like amazing. Like the top dog, my fearless leader knows my name, right? Like that was so empowering. And I can honestly say the board of director for my school division has no clue who I am. He might recognize my name from elementary teacher or something like that, which nothing against them. I'm not saying that. But just that recognition piece is truly something that has always really been very special. And the friendships too, like you go to events and you walk in and it's like your long lost friend that you haven't seen for months because everyone just makes you feel so welcomed. So that's all for me.
So we'll go on to our next question, which might get leaky just because it can feel really overwhelming to answer this one. We all know that Dory won't leak, but that's okay. What are some mistakes that you wished you could have avoided?
No.
So I
That's
can
a loaded
start.
question.
I can start because I knew what my answer was. As soon as someone asked this, I was like, I know what my answer is. And I bet you that all of the directors right now could be like, yep, that's something I wish I could have avoided, is not believing in yourself that you or your team could do it. There's been times where I've been like, maybe I should just give up. Like maybe Tupperware isn't for me. And like, I bet you Colleen can definitely tell me that she's thought that too, right? Like you always have, like it's crazy. The amount of times where you go, maybe I just shouldn't do this. Or maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And then something happens. And it could be something like this big. It could be someone like Frank messaging you and being like, oh my God, thank you so much for doing these calls. Did you know I'm only $3,000 away from director? And then all of a sudden, everything just feels like, oh, no, I was meant to do this. Like, this is what I'm meant to do, right? And I think sometimes we forget that, like, even though you aren't saying that you're feeling that way, like feeling that you shouldn't do it or that your team can't do it, like, people can smell it on you almost, that like you're feeling insecure about your ability to be a director or to be a leader. And I think sometimes we kind of forget that like we may not be saying it, but they can definitely tell. It comes off in how you say things to people and how you treat people and the way that you act around other people. So I think that's one thing I wished I would have avoided, is that, you know, like believing in yourself 110% all the time, even if sometimes you don't even believe it either, right? It's really hard, but it's definitely worth it.
So I'll go next. I don't know that everybody will know this, but this is actually go around number 2 at director. So when I started, it was a whirlwind. It happened really, really quick. Not as quick as Dana, but quick nonetheless. It was literally 11:57 the last day of the month in January, and Jenny messages me, push your button. I was not prepared. I hadn't thought about it. I didn't really even know what the button was, but I pushed it. Long story short, I made it. I was director for not quite a year. My team just fell apart. Everybody literally just stopped working at the same time. You know, a lot of that was on me. I didn't know what I was doing, or I wasn't, you know, doing the right things or whatever. Or as a lot of people find out after you've been in Tupperware for anywhere from, 6 months to a year to more, people come and go, right? You can have a manager, a star manager, executive manager, month 1 DIQ, and in 3 months, their sales are zero, they're done. It is what it is. That's the nature of the business. One thing I do want to say, one of my biggest takeaways from it was mistakes are okay. Mistakes happen. Mistakes are how you learn. Mistakes are how you grow. Don't beat yourself up about it. Learn from it. Put your big girl panties on and move on, right? And like Kelsey said, sometimes it takes just that one thing. I stepped up, was it November? I think it was October, I stepped up back up to director. I earned my then tracks, and then it was the next month I stepped up to star director. But I'm not gonna lie, August and September, I was done. Like, it had just, I just felt like I was spinning my wheels. I was putting in all the work. I was doing all the right things. I just wasn't getting the results. And then, lo and behold, you get a couple people on your team that are excited. They start working, things start happening. You get excited because they're excited, and then everything just kind of explodes. So don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of mistakes, right? They're hard at the time, but they can also be a blessing, because I have looked at what I did or didn't do, the first go around. And like, for example, I was terrible at communicating with my team. I just knew it, so I assumed they know it. Well, assume nothing, right? We all know what assume means, right? Assume nothing.
I don't know.
Makes you a
mine's
donkey.
Kind of,
Sorry, I just read the
use
chat.
that one now. Yeah, that's awesome. Mine's more so, I don't know, like, what was the actual wording you used, Kelsey, that you said?
So it says, what are some mistakes that you wished you could have avoided?
I don't know. It's more so that, like, why the HEL double hockey sticks didn't I start sooner? Like, why didn't I give it a go and go all in sooner? And what was kind of holding me back, really? Because when I started, we just sold our house and we're moving in with my parents with a 2-year-old. Yes, that happened because we were building our house. So life was already kind of crazy just doing that. And then we got pregnant with our second. And so we were building a house, living with my parents, and pregnant. It was awful, but totally worth it. And looking back, it's like, why did it take me a year-ish? I mean, I was on mat leave and stuff, so obviously that played maybe a little bit of a factor with a newborn and some of that. But yeah, why didn't I start and go all in sooner? Because I could have maybe not went back to teaching at all after my mat leave, which with some surgeries and stuff, and then COVID happens. I literally have taught 2 months this year, so it doesn't feel like I was even there. But had I got started sooner before all this, I could have been director maybe a year prior, and I wouldn't have had to even go back at all after mat leave. I could have completely supplemented my income and not even went on mat leave because that director pay is way more than a mat leave pay. So yeah, my biggest mistake, and I don't know if I could even say it was a mistake, but just kind of a question I always say to myself, my team, why didn't I go all in sooner? So now I'm all in. There's no turning back.
That's awesome. I haven't been in this long enough to have any like major whatevers at the moment, but my 2 things are press the button. Just go press your button. Go press it. Go press the DIQ button. I wished that I didn't know what it was. I didn't have a clue what the heck people were talking about on the last day of April when they're like, oh, I pressed it, I did this. And I'm like, good for you, whatever. I don't know what you did, but it's good. And somebody said, Dana, did you press it? Because obviously they knew my numbers and whatever. And I'm like, no, it'll be fine. I want to help Shauna get to where she needs to go, like whatever. I didn't have a clue what it meant. I had no clue what it meant. Maybe if somebody had, said something a little bit more to me about it, I might have pressed it at that point, but I had no clue. I mean, I can't blame anybody on that, like at all. There's no fault or no whatever. I'm not putting blame anywhere. I just had no clue. If you have no idea what we are saying about that DIQ button, there are lots of training. There are lots of posts in Top of the Line. Go Google them or search them out and you can find out. It's just pressing the button to say that you are interested in getting into the DIQ program. It lets your upline know that you're serious about working your business, so that they can cheer you on and help you and come alongside you and, you know, roll with you in that. So when I did press it the day after, I just, you know, it's like, dang, I wish I'd have pressed that yesterday. So that's my one thing. Go and press your button. If you have not pressed it yet and you're on this call, go do that right after you get off this call. Second is, do not, if you have never done it before, don't book 6 parties the first week of May. Don't do it. I am telling you, that was unbelievably the stupidest thing I have ever done. And it was so super stressful. I remember I swear by Crystal's training. She has phenomenal training on how to do Facebook parties, and I was killing it in the last 2 weeks of April. And then May came, and that week I was the crappiest Tupperware girl ever. I'm not gonna lie about that. I felt like the biggest failure. Okay, you couldn't even go by the sales, because I had the sales, I had the recruits, I had the party bookings, so I had all of that, but I felt like crap because I knew that I could have done better. And so I was like talking to Tracy when that week was over, and I was just about in tears because I knew I was crappy. I knew it. Like I didn't host coach that week. I couldn't talk to people. I had no time to do anything. Like my family had to feed me because I had no time to eat. What I did do though was, when you have times like that, because we all are going to have times like that in our journeys, it won't matter what it is. We're all going to have those times. That's when you just need to kind of sit back and go, you know what? I'm going to learn from this. I don't like feeling like this at the end of a week where I know I got everybody what they wanted, but I know I didn't do the best job that I could do. And so I just sat down. I'm like, I can do 4 to 6 parties in a week, but we're not going to have them all close on the same day. That's number one. Don't have them close on the same day. So when I did that again a couple of weeks later, I staggered them, and oh my goodness, what a difference that made. And the only reason I pushed so hard for that was because I knew what my goal was going to be. I knew I was going for director. I knew what kind of sales I needed. Did I think I would make it in a month? No, I absolutely did not. I didn't even think that when I put that to my team the week before, and we needed 15 grand to finish off the month. But, you know, they pulled it out and we ended up with 40 grand last month. Like just unstinkable. May was just a crazy month. So just know when you do make the things that you feel crappy about, don't sit in that forever. Just allow that feeling for a second and then get yourself out of it, get your headspace out of there, because we all do things when we don't know what we're doing. We do things wrong or mistake or whatever. So just know everybody's been through that at one point or another. It may not be the same situation, but but we've all been there.
I would say don't get comfortable. When I first joined, my second month, I think it was, is when I started, maybe my third month was when I started really recruiting, because I wanted the say yes for myself. So I started recruiting for it, and I built a team fairly quickly, and we promoted fairly quickly in the next 2 or 3 months. And then, you know, you get that, oh wow, like we're now a manager team, or we're a star manager team. And everybody's, you know, going to keep selling and keep doing our thing. And then, like Dory said, sometimes it just stops, and it's nobody's fault. But it happens. So don't ever get comfortable thinking that you don't need to keep growing. Always keep growing. That's why they say Rita, because recruiting is the answer. That you have to keep doing that. And we stopped for a while because, you know, you get overwhelmed with it sometimes, and there's a lot of new people and launch parties and stuff to do, but we stopped recruiting and the team fell apart. And by Christmas, they were mostly all gone, and I was back down to manager from executive manager, and I think month 2 of DIQ. And that's where we kind of learned the hard way to not get too comfortable. Don't take it for granted. And every month you just keep recruiting. Always, always, Rita.
So I'm going to come at this a little bit differently, but first I have to make sure everybody reads what Colleen put in the chat. Oh, because honestly, that was my May.
I can't see the chat.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll
say
message you later.
do you want me to say it out loud? I can say it out
No,
loud.
we're recording.
Oh, okay. I won't say it out loud. Just kidding. Okay, so now I'm all flushed.
Ooh, Colleen.
I am a firm believer in
Yes, she does. Oh, sorry.
firm believer in not regretting any mistakes or even deeming them a mistake, because everything gets you to where you are. So
Learn experiences.
yes. So are there things, and I can't even say there's things that I would change, because if I didn't go through some of the hard things that I've gone through, I wouldn't be as, what's the word I'm looking for? I wouldn't be as determined as I am to get to where I want to go. But mine kind of falls in the same as Lindsay's. I think the hardest thing that I did was I got complacent when I stepped up to director, and I wasn't pushing as hard as I should have been. So with that, I'm going to say always be the hardest working person on your team. You do that and your team will follow suit. So that's my...
What is Cora saying? What is it? Speed as a leader? And what is it? How does that go?
Something like that.
Speed of the leader, speed of the pack.
Yes, that's it.
So
Which is why she's crazy and always working.
And never sleeps.
Constantly.
and never sleeps. She's always awake at 3 a.m. when you have a question. So our last question, as all of you know, is a repeat question. We ask it every week, just because it ended up being like a really good question, and a lot of people got a lot of things out of it. So our last question, number 5, is always, if you could give one piece of advice and one piece of advice only, what would it be?
Got it.
She's like, I got it.
Before I forget, because I'm not going to get emotional or anything on this tonight. This is actually good. But the thing, and I said it earlier tonight, but the biggest thing that's really been resonating with me lately, and it's just because of my situation and where life has taken me, that fight for your dreams because no one else is going to. So that's really just stuck with me, and that's kind of been what I've been working towards, and it relates back to my why and why am I doing this, and that, and Tara, this is from you. I'm going to grab this. So I hung up my pillowcase from DSS behind me, and my quote has always been, a dream is a goal with a deadline. And my epic drawing skills right here are a house, a P, an E, and a D. So Paisley, Emery, and then my husband, Doug. And that is my dream. That is a goal with a deadline. And that was me fighting for that dream that I have officially made come true. So really fight for that, and you have to make it happen. So that's mine. No sappy.
No sappy.
I'm going to say be authentic. You be yourself. You don't have to pretend to be Cora. You don't have to pretend to be your director. You don't have to be anybody. Just be yourself. Your customers know it. Your teammates know it. Just be genuine. Have fun with it. Don't stop having fun. This is the best job in the world because we get to make great money, but we get to have fun. So keep it fun, but be yourself. People can tell when you're not being yourself. So, I go on live with my team fairly often. I try and do it usually 2 or 3 times a week. And I screw up or I forget things like mid-sentence and like it's gone. But I'm real. And I think they all have the same moments. So we kind of laugh over it. My blonde's coming in today. And we carry on. But they know that I'm me. They know that I'm genuine. And I think that makes me more approachable to my team, because they know now that they can come to me and be like, so I made a big boo-boo. I need help. I did something, because we all do it, and they know it because they see me do it, because nobody's perfect. So just be yourself with your team, be yourself with your customers, and it's going to get you places.
I'll go. So ask everyone more than once. I'm going to throw Dawn under the bus here because I see that she's on right now, and she just completed month 1 of DIQ. So I met her through our boys and selects football team, and she hosted a party, a very successful party, a year and a half ago now. Of course, I tried to flip the host, because I go into every party with the intention I am going to flip the host. There's no easier time to recruit than when they have sales, etc., right? So Dawn was adamant she didn't want to. She took her goodies and ran, which was fine. And then it was, it was over a year after that, sitting in the Yara Center, actually. She had posted on Facebook that her boys were doing a fundraiser for sledge hockey. I contacted her, said, hey, do you want a donation? She said, yeah, that'd be great. Well, she got the donation, and what that donation was a carry-all and a $25 gift certificate with meat. She wanted the Power Chef. Well, I will never sell anybody now I will, but I would never sell anybody a Power Chef at the time. It was always the kit, right? She's like, but I don't have to sell. Nope. But I said, we should have a party and get you all the goodies again. She's like, okay, let's do it. So was that April, March? When was it? I'm so bad. Was it February? I'm trying to read Dawn's lips right now.
It was February.
Okay. So February, we'd do her party, everything. We're quiet for a couple months, and then I would see her post a little bit here and there, and I'd show my husband and be like, oh, look at this. And he'd be like, oh, really? And then she kind of just fell right in. She was doing lives from her tractor while she was seeding. And I honestly had thought seeding's hitting, Dawn's gone, she's going to be too busy, but nope, she totally ran with it, completely crushed me, did manager, star manager, executive manager, month 1 DIQ, earned month 1 of the Rogue, like fan-freaking-tastic. So ask everyone, ask them twice, ask them 3 times, ask them 4 times. You just never know. And don't discount anyone.
I'll add on to that. If anyone knows my story with Casey J, you'll know that Dory's piece of advice is like spot on, man. So Casey J asked me over 30 times, 30, to join her team. She was adamant that she wanted me on her team, and she never gave up. And if anyone knows anything about winning a party gift or like a prize, is that we pick those strategically. And do you want to know what Casey J did? In a mega party, I won a prize. And she did that strategically because she knew that she could get me with a free item, right? So it's very important that we don't discount anyone and we don't give up on anyone. Sometimes it can seem like, oh, Casey J probably was like, this lady's going to give me a heart attack already. Like, how many times do I have to ask her? Right? So I think sometimes we also need, this isn't my piece of advice, I'm just adding on, by the way. Sometimes we just have to remember that, even though it can be really frustrating, that those people may end up being that, unicorn that we call them, right? That person that joins your team and, blows it out of the water. So while I'm on, I'll give my piece of advice. Sorry, Lindsay.
Sorry, I was just going to add on to that quickly, Kelsey, because you're so right. My new director, Lynn, is actually my sister-in-law's sister. So my sister-in-law was on my team. She really wanted to recruit. We were trying hard to get her that say yes offer as well. So her sister wanted a lunch set and something else, and it came to more than the kit. So we're like, okay, buy the kit. She's like, how do I do this? I'm like, buy the kit. I'm tired of asking her. We've asked her 500 times if she's going to, you know, help her sister out. She keeps saying, no, I'll give her that lunch bag if she joins your team. And she tried to give us the kit back. She's like, but I don't want any of this. I just want my lunch bag. Thank you. And we're like, no, take it. She's like, this choppy thing, I don't want this at all. And she didn't want it. And she ended up taking it all, and she just promoted to director. And my other girl that's promoting to director should be this month. Same thing. I asked her 100 times. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Her cousin is on my team. She joined to help her cousin. And now she's a director. Like, it, so many people that absolutely not. I think most directors, you could ask most directors, and most of us joined with zero intention to sell after being asked multiple times. So don't ever stop.
Totally. So my piece of advice is the same every week because it's super important. So there's a reason that we all do what we're doing, right? And we call that our why. Sherry mentioned it earlier. Your why is super important to how you live your life, to how you work your business, and to how you get to where you are in your business or where you would like to be. And I think it is extremely important that we not only know our own why, but that we share our why with our friends, our family, and our teams. Because I share this from experience. In August and September, I was second month of DIQ in September, and in October, I was not in DIQ. I fell out of DIQ. And the reason that happened was because I wasn't sharing the reason that I was doing this with anyone. I was just kind of like, well, this is what I want, and that's like my why, so why would I share it with anyone else, right? And then Casey J said to me, she goes, why are you doing this? Like, why are you doing Tupperware? I want you to post about it in your team page. And so I posted about it in my team page. And after that, everyone was like, let's earn a car. Let's earn a trip. Like, let's get to director team. Because I also told them that it was, I can get things for you faster, right? I get to know what the samples are. I get to know this. I get to know that before everyone else, right? So as a director team, to share your why with your team is extremely important. And like, the month for my car, to earn the car, my sister has never bought a piece of Tupperware ever. And I told her, like, I am $1,000 away from earning my car and my trip. And she goes, okay, here's a $350 order. Right? And I think the only reason she did that was probably because she knew that this trip and this car could really benefit our family. And $350 was, you know, she got some things for Christmas gifts. So I think it's extremely important that we share that. And sometimes our why will change. Sherry has said this a few times too, and so has Tara, that like our why will change quite often. But there is always that one why, right? Like your family. The reason you're doing this is so that you could stay home with your family. That's always one of the whys. But the other why might be like me, that we could never afford a trip or a car. So that might be my like secondary why, right? So I think it's really great that we share that with everyone, because then it makes everyone feel a part of the team and that everyone is going for the exact same goal that you are going for as well.
So the reason why I still do, because it fits in with the why situation, the reason why I do anything is for joy. I need to have joy in my life. When our family has been going through this whole cancer thing this whole last year, and so when you have those types of situations that pop up in your family, that just totally takes your family on a different path than what you were ever thinking. And so it puts your priorities in a different level. And so at that point, for me, it was like, I'm not wasting my time on things that don't bring my family and bring myself joy. Because life is too short. We don't know where it's going to go. And I'm just not willing to do that for my family anymore. I'm happy to say, even though I got a misdiagnosis of cancer, I'm happy to say that once they took my thyroid out, it's not. So we're very thankful for that. And we just found that out for sure at the end of March. But, you know, in that 9 months that we weren't sure, that is why I stay with Tupperware. That's why I started with Tupperware. One is I just needed something to do to get my mind off of everything else. And I so enjoy it. I so enjoy sharing the opportunity with people to use their money in a way that is beneficial for their family. Like, I just love all of that it encompasses. I love doing the lives. I love meeting the people. Although there's some moments where my heart's like out of my throat, and, you know, other moments where I'm like, what am I doing? I still absolutely love each and every piece of it. And if it weren't bringing me joy, I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't, because I don't have time to waste in my life. And I don't think any of us do, where we're doing something that's going to not benefit our family and not make us be the best people that we can be for our families and for the people around us. Right. So I'm very thankful that this came into my life at the exact moment that God knew it needed to come into my life. And, yeah, it's just been such a huge blessing.
Does anyone else have any of their one piece of advice to give?
Am I the only one left? Did everybody else give their advice?
I think so.
Oh gosh. I don't know. My advice has kind of been, I kind of said it with the last question, but I'll give you a different one. How does Lindsay say it? Nothing good happens inside your comfort zone. How does she say it? It's not quite like that, but step out of your comfort zone. If you don't want to do a live on your timeline, call somebody, FaceTime somebody, do a live, practice there, move on, do another one. Push the limits of your comfort zone, and you'll be surprised what you'll find on the other side.
Awesome. Well, first, I would like to thank all of our directors for joining me tonight and answering our questions. I really appreciate you all jumping on with me. And thanks to everyone for joining us. If you have any questions, you can definitely send me a message, or you can comment in the chat. I'll be on for a little bit longer, but we will stop the recording now.